From Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Saamiyah Syed. Our top story tonight. 2 advocacy groups have sent letters to election officials in 9 key states in an effort to keep former President Donald Trump off the 2024 ballot. The campaign aims to prevent Trump from holding public office once again because he instigated the deadly January 6 U.S. Capitol riot. This was after he responded to his defeat in 2020 by falsely claiming the election was stolen. A section of the 14th Amendment prohibits anyone who has sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States and then incited a riot or rebellion from holding office. Alexandra Flores-Quilty, campaign director at Free Speech for People, says there is an overwhelming evidence that Trump instigated and mobilized the January 6 uprising. She says secretaries of state and election officials must do their duty by following the constitutional mandate and barring Trump from the ballot. In April, the Manhattan District Attorney indicted Trump on 34 felony counts related to alleged hush money payments during the 2016 campaign. And last month, Trump and his advisor, Walt Nauta, faced dozens of federal charges in a classified documents case. In related news, federal prosecutors investigating Trump's actions after the 2020 election are looking into whether he knew he had lost. They are questioning witnesses, including his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, about whether Trump privately acknowledged he had been defeated. Special Prosecutor Jack Smith and his team are trying to determine whether Trump's efforts to overturn the election were based on a lie and motivated by corrupt intent. Kushner testified before a grand jury, saying he felt that Trump really believed the election was stolen. The investigation seeks to determine whether Trump knowingly made unsubstantiated claims of widespread election fraud. Witnesses also were asked about Trump's conduct in the run-up to the election and in the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. Establishing Trump's intent would strengthen potential charges such as inciting a riot or obstructing an act of Congress. President Joe Biden is criticizing Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville's stalling tactics on military appointments. Biden says the political maneuvering jeopardizes national security. Tuberville is pressuring the administration to change the Pentagon's abortion policy, jeopardizing key appointments in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is currently operating without a commander. The Pentagon said on Monday that as many as 650 senior military positions could be unfulfilled by the end of the year if there is no resolution. Currently, 265 general and flag officer positions have been blocked in the Senate. Biden's preferred candidate to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff also faces an uncertain future. The president says he would negotiate with Tuberville to end the stalemate if he felt there was any way to change this ridiculous position. He called on the Republican Party to stand up and do something about it. The Senate must approve all government nominations, which is traditionally a quick process. A mass grave containing 87 bodies has been discovered in the Sudanese state of West Darfur. The bodies are believed to be ethnic Masalit and others killed last month by rapid reaction forces and their allied militias. The United Nations Office for Human Rights says the bodies were buried in a mass grave outside the region's capital, El Geneina. The agency said over 30 bodies were buried in the mass grave on June 20th. Another 50 bodies were buried at the same site on the following day. Among them were the bodies of 7 women and 7 children. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk has condemned the killings of civilians in Sudan. He is calling for a swift, thorough, and independent investigation into the killings. Sudan has seen multiple clashes between the army and the RSF since April that have killed over 600. The International Organization for Migration estimates nearly 3 million people have been displaced by the conflict. Pakistan and Kashmiris worldwide marked the 92nd anniversary of the Kashmir Martyrs Day Thursday. They commemorated the 22 Kashmiris killed by Hindu Dogra forces on July 13, 1931. Special prayers were held to remember the martyrs who were considered heralds of Kashmir's freedom struggle and the right to self-determination. Pakistan's foreign ministry expressed solidarity with Kashmiris and condemned the killings. Former chief ministers of Jammu and Kashmir, Mehbooba Mufti and Omar Abdullah, claimed they were prevented by police from paying tribute to the martyrs. Since 2019, the Indian government has revoked the region's autonomy and taken away the status of July 13th as an official holiday. It has also restricted gatherings at the Martyrs Cemetery in the heart of the capital city, Srinagar. More details on how Kuwait plans to print 100,000 copies of the Quran comes with details after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Kuwait plans to print 100,000 copies of the Swedish translation of the Quran. The project was launched on the instructions of Prime Minister Sheikh Ahmed Nawal al-Ahmed al-Sabah. Its aim is to promote Islamic principles, tolerance, and peaceful coexistence. Copies will be distributed in Sweden. The initiative is a response to recent incidents of desecration of the Quran in European countries, especially in Sweden and Germany. These provoked international condemnation and diplomatic responses. The UN Human Rights Council adopted a resolution condemning attacks on religious texts. 28 countries voted in favor, 12 voted against, and 7 abstained. The United Kingdom, the US, and some European Union member states opposed the resolution. The US Human Rights Envoy says conditions for the return of Rohingya refugees to Burma remain uncertain. Azra Zaya is Undersecretary of State for Civilian Security, Democracy, and Human Rights. She has pledged an additional $74 million in aid for the Rohingya. The U.S. is the largest donor to Rohingya humanitarian efforts and has provided more than $2 billion in aid to Rohingyas and host communities in Bangladesh. Zaya says that while the U.S. supports efforts to create conditions for the eventual, safe, dignified, informed, and voluntary return of the Rohingya, these conditions currently do not exist. Zaya met with Bangladesh Foreign Minister Masood bin Momen. Bangladesh and Burma have discussed efforts to begin repatriation of Rohingya refugees to their homeland. They fled Burma after a brutal military genocide and crackdown from the Burmese military over 5 years. Israeli police have evicted a Palestinian family from their home in the occupied East Jerusalem. Ahmed Leban says police stormed his home when his family was asleep and evicted them from the building. Witnesses say police later allowed Israeli settlers into the house in Aqbad al-Khalidiyah in Jerusalem's Old City. Earlier this year, Israeli judicial authorities ordered the Leban family to vacate their home in favor of settlers. The court based its decisions on claims by settler groups that the house had been in Jewish ownership before 1948. The Palestinian family has lived there since 1953. Supporters staged several events in solidarity with the Palestinian family, which has refused to voluntarily vacate the home after the court's ruling. The Leban family has been resisting eviction since 2010. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reports that over 200 Palestinian households in East Jerusalem face the threat of eviction. In the last 20 years, large parts of the world's oceans have changed their color. Due to the effects of climate change on marine life, they are showing subtle greening toward the tropics. In a new study released Wednesday, scientists said they found color changes in more than half of the world's oceans. The authors of the study, which was published in the journal Nature, attribute this to changes in ecosystems, especially in tiny plankton. Plankton are at the heart of the marine food web and play a crucial role in stabilizing the Earth's atmosphere. A deep blue ocean reveals there is not much life there. Green water means there is more activity, especially from photosynthesizing phytoplankton. These produce much of the oxygen and are an important part of the global carbon cycle. Scientists have developed the whitest paint to make the Earth cool. The paint can reflect 98% of the sun's rays. It was developed by Dr. Zulin Ruan and his team at Purdue College. It can lower surface temperatures by as much as minus 55 degrees Fahrenheit to minus 44 degrees Fahrenheit at night. The team's original goal was to help mitigate climate change by saving energy and lowering global temperatures. However, there are concerns about the paint's environmental impact. The current formulation uses barium sulfate, which has negative environmental consequences. But the team is working to develop alternative paints based on the same white pigment. Some experts remain skeptical about the paint's effectiveness. Dr. Jeremy Monday of the College of California says the paint's impact is small compared to the enormous amount of heat generated by the sun. He said ultra-white paint or other methods of radiant cooling are not long-term solutions. The Banaka Museum of Islamic Art in Athens showcases the cultural connection between Greece and the artistic traditions of the Muslim world. Since 2004, the museum has displayed around 12,000 Islamic artifacts from various regions where Muslims have lived. The collection was primarily amassed by Antonis Benakis, who was a prominent Greek art collector who founded the Banaka Museum. Curator Mina Muretu emphasizes the museum is unique in the country. It serves as a bridge between Greece and the Islamic world that are geographically close but culturally distinct. The museum offers training programs, seminars, and initiatives that introduce Islamic civilization and art to locals and foreigners. Indonesian halal cosmetic brands are gaining traction, challenging the dominance of international giants such as L'Oreal and Unilever. Local consumers, especially young people, are increasingly interested in Indonesian brands that offer halal-certified products. Halal-certified products are manufactured in accordance with Islamic law. Eska and Rosol Day Cosmetics are popular Indonesian brands that have seen significant growth. Eska offers halal makeup with vegan ingredients and has expanded into other Southeast Asian markets. RADC, also halal certified and vegan, is experiencing rapid sales growth and is looking to enter new markets. The growing popularity of local brands has led to a decline in market share for international cosmetic companies. Yet some global brands are reluctant to invest in halal production facilities due to cost. Indonesia adopted a law in 2014 requiring halal certification for a range of consumer products, including cosmetics, by 2026. Before we end today's news, I would like to make a special request. It takes more than 55 hours of work per day to produce this news segment for you. It is news with a unique perspective, and you can find it only on here, on Muslim Network TV. Sound Vision is a not-for-profit organization which produces it. And just like PBS and NPR, we depend on your donations. Please visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now or click the link below to donate. That's all from our Toronto studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.